Yes, he's big and he's loud and he's about to rock the nation like it's never been rocked before. Please welcome the hardest working man in Aussie music, Jimmy Burns. It's been a while since we've bumped.
Nearly a year.
Nearly a year. What have you been up to?
Where does it go? You name it. I've done it. I've been touring.
Busking?
I've done it.
Lion taming?
No.
Aha!
Tigers?
Tigers, yes, probably.
No, I've been touring, writing, doing all sorts of stuff,
So some of the places you've toured, where have you been? Have you toured everywhere now?
I think I've just about played to every single bloody person in Australia, individually. No, there's still a few places I want to go. I haven't toured South America yet.
South America?
Yeah, Rocket Rio would be pretty good, I reckon.
That'd be. Now, how do you go overseas? What's your international profile?
Same as everybody else.
That was a good one.
I just thought, it was open. Nobody was claiming it. We did pretty well, like Britain, Europe, Germany, Holland, Sweden, around there.
Does that come from your old chisel days, or?
I think it started there, but I think Europe, particularly around Germany, they're just right into Aussie music. They're just onto it. The headbangers, they are.
Do you mind rough gigs? Like if you were to go to a headbanging club, do the tough kids scare you?
No. No, not really. Well, most of them used to come at my gigs, I think. It's people just get it. You go to these gigs. It's like going to bloody anything. If you go to a sort of a disco and you're intimidated by it, you're going to have a rotten time.
Yeah.
But you go to those gigs. What I do, for me, it works every time. Is walk in and act like you own the bloody place. And so if you're at Hell's Angels show, just take over. And sort of act really, lots of bravado, and be loud, and make sure that you're never in the shadows. Alone anywhere.
Eyes on the back of your head.
Eyes on the back of your head.
When was the last time you were in a good scrap?
Oh Jesus, must be. Hours ago. No, I don't fight. I'm a sort of, much sneakier than that. Age and treachery can always beat youth and enthusiasm.
Did you used to be a fighter? Like if you've played in rough gigs, like in rough clubs,
I've had fights, so it's not. It's not anything that's sort of. I actually get pretty good at it. Eventually. After a few kickings. No, I did martial arts for a while, and I thought that would, control my sort of temper and my, sort of focus myself. I thought it'd be really good for singing, but it sort of. I got really good at it. And some guy gave me lip somewhere and I built him, and it was just too automatic, so I gave that up and took up yoga, because by the time I got my arms out here, I couldn't hit them. So I've never really been a fighter. I grew up in a sort of, in Elizabeth, which was pretty rough, and there was lots of street fighting and stuff. But I used to I was always pretty, fairly sort of sneaky and sharp. I'd go there and I'd see somebody that's mouthing off so much, that you think there's no way this guy could possibly fight and talk like that at the same time. So you'd hit him. He might be the biggest guy, but and it'd be fine.
Is that what you used to find? Like you used to use your mouth to get out of trouble?
It's a bit personal, but didn't know it was that late show.
That's 2 for 2. You're going crazy tonight.
Sorry. Yeah, you can, but the thing is, I just managed to sort of keep myself out of that sort of situation. I mean, we're really in Elizabeth. It was either you're either fought or you're a victim, and it was sort of like not as bad as it sounds. It was sort of just because it was boredom in the neighbourhood. It was street gangs, running around, and you probably knew everybody. You took turns. Who was the victims? Who was? And there was a couple who never took turns, by the way. But I managed to sort of avoid it all, and I joined a rock and roll band when I was 14. I just sort of gave up the violence and just sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
From here on in.
Yeah, no, but I think it's just a matter of if you're prone to that sort of thing, you do it anyway. When I fought, I could never hit. I actually fought. My dad was a boxer, so I trained and all my life and was boxing and stuff, and I just sort of didn't dig it at all. I can't see the point of getting punched around the ring for 9 minutes,
Well, exactly.
Maybe I wasn't a good boxer, I don't know.
Well, because to me it's one of those things, if you know how to defend yourself, it's not so much using it as just knowing if I had to, I could really lay the smack down on someo's Rudy Poo candy.
Yeah, but the thing is...
As they say.
The thing is, so when I did martial arts, for instance, I thought, you do all this work and you get a black belt and it'd all be sort of like, everything would be cool, I got to, getting my black belt, and I realised it was just the start, It was, and the whole thing was much more. It was much more about sort of the mind and about sort of avoiding and about sort of, using other people's energies as opposed to your own. And so I thought, no, it's way too deep for me. I've tried to do that while you're singing, your kids.
You sort of bash people.
Yeah, no, I can run away.
Now, you've just been touring and you played a town in Western Australia called, is it Doodlekin? Did I get that right? Doodlekin.
Yes.
Oh, I know Doodlekin, right? I thought it was Doodlekin. I was going, never heard of Doodlekin.
Doodlekin. It's about 230 k's out of
Perth. Yeah.
It was a great thing. It was this town has a population of 23 people. I think when the band left, it was probably going to be 29. Dumpster jokes.
He's 3 for 3, though. 3 for 3. How does it come about doing a little town like that?
It's a great story. It's sort of like Field of Dreams. This guy, the publican, Peter McDonald, he decided he was going to build this pub. It's like you build it, they will come. He built this pub in this town with 23 people, thinking that, if he sets up the right sort of thing, he's going to, service, to coin a phrase, it's a farming term, the whole sort of, area. So you got people coming from about, 400 square miles, so landing in planes, utes, cars, and he built this pub. And he had like this sort of little grassed area, which he obviously planted himself. You could see the rows of geraniums, around the outside. And it was fantastic. We got there, I think for the first 2 weeks the tickets went on sale. Nobody would buy a ticket because they didn't believe him for a start. You built this pub, you're a lunatic. Now you're there, Jimmy Mars is playing, so nobody's going to come anyway. So after that, we just went. Once they realised we started doing press and stuff, they went nuts.
Was this part of the Raw tour that you've got?
It was sort of the warm-ups for it, yeah. But it was probably one of the highlights as well. It was like playing it as sort of a huge B&S or a huge country 21st. It was just fantastic,
Well, hopefully you'll go back there because the Raw tour is currently you're touring the nation or just in Sydney at the moment?
We've just been doing warm-ups and we're going out in about a week now. Yeah, we're doing Sydney, Melbourne, Canberra, Brisbane. Oh, not Brisbane.
And I should also point out that you have the Raw CD, which is the live set you did from the gig with Bon Jovi.
Yes, at the Colonial Stadium.
Which would have been fun, I'm sure.
Hey, it was good. It was, it was a essential services gig, so it was like. Crowd was already there, have a good time.
Yep.
The demographic, Bon Jovi and myself, it was, got this sort of mix that we're just there to go off and have a good time.
You can't go wrong. So the man is touring, the CD is out. Please thank Jimmy Barnes, everybody. Hey, Barnes, good to see you again, mate. We'll be back with Darren Hayes and Vanessa Amorosi.